Hi, everybody. My name is Tamica Washington Miller. I'm the Associate Director of the Lula Washington Dance Theater, and we are currently in our 35th anniversary season right now.
Wow.
And it's a pleasure to be here meeting you guys at the 27th Annual International Association of Blacks in Dance Conference.
Wow, and that's great. It's an honor for us to be here. Can you give us some background information about yourself and what has prepared you for what you have done here today?
So, the Lula Washington Dance Theater is based in Los Angeles, and it's founded by both of my parents, Irwin and Lula Washington. And we're kind of an oddity in Los Angeles in that there's not very much modern dance happening, and then there's not very much black dance happening, very little. And when we were when my parents founded the organization in 1980, I was 10 years old at that time, and I grew up in the process of the organization growing up. And so now we're at 35 years, and so I've literally been there since the beginning. Remembering the day when my mother decided, I'm going to start my own company, because there was such a void in Los Angeles in terms of opportunity, because Los Angeles is Hollywood, then there's few modern dance companies, but they only had space for one or two of us. And so I saw that frustration in her, and I saw it happening around me, and I watched my parents build this organization from the ground up. And so now, 35 years later, I had to work my way up in our school as a member of our children's dance ensemble, and then I became an apprentice, and I got to tour with the company, and I had to carry bags and do all the stuff, extra stuff, and became a soloist of my own right, and have begun to teach. And so now I'm in transition towards leadership for our organization in Los Angeles for the next 35 years.
Wow.
We hope and pray, right?
And that's just great. And speaking about leadership, I saw you doing a workshop, leading a class. Can you tell us more about what that was about?
So I had the pleasure and honor of teaching here at the International Association of Blacks in Dance Conference. And I got a chance to work with some of the up-and-coming young dancers from all over the United States. They come to this conference to get a little taste of people that they wouldn't see on a regular basis, and to figure out whose summer program they want to go and see and experience. So it's really a great opportunity and really an honor, because those people in that class, actually my class had some teachers in it and had some folks in their in graduate school in that class. It was a nice range, but for the most part, the kids were like between 15 and 18 years old. And that's really the next generation of dancers that are going to be out in the world. And so for me, it's an opportunity to touch that, because you don't know who's going to become what.
Yes.
And then at the same time, who might have been inspired enough to come all the way out to LA and work with us. So it's a give and give back. It's a reciprocated opportunity to work with the young people at this conference. And then with my peers, folks who danced in professional companies in the 80s and 90s like I did, early 2000s. And to see us all graduating to another level of leadership. We're teaching at universities, chairing dance departments and theater departments, choreographing, touring, doing all these things. And so for me, because I've been involved in this conference, my mother is a founding member of this organization.
Oh, wow. I
didn't get to go to the very first conference, and then the second conference she only took them in, and I was so jealous. But then I've been to almost every single one since, and I myself have just been blessed to be around the pioneers. I mean, it's very heartwarming. I mean, you were there this morning.
Yes,
and people,
very moving.
Yeah, because you don't realize that you've been a part of history until
Yes.
you really see it.
Who you're standing on the shoulders of. Speaking about history, what would you like for your students or anyone that participated in your workshops today to take away from, the experience they had with you? What would you like?
Well, my dance students, I always tell them, in real life, you might give 100%, but you might only get 80% back. So you have to give 110% so you can get 100% back. I told the students in the class, if you have more, then you have to give more. Like, we're talking about the leg. If your leg goes here, it shouldn't stay there. It has to keep going, and you have to fight to make it keep going, because eventually you build the strength to keep it going and stay there. But if you just keep here, you're not going anywhere. if you just work the bare minimum, that's what you're going to be, just the bare minimum. And you may be successful in that. I don't know. We don't know. But why do less? Do more.
That's great. You also mentioned your mom being a founding member of IABD. How does it feel to know that your mom was a part of starting an organization that can possibly, that is going to propel other young artists into the future? How does that make you feel as her daughter?
There's some big shoes to fill. I mean, and she always tells me, don't fill my shoes. You have your own shoes.
Yes.
And I'm always just honored, and she's my mom. So she's everything to me, and I just admire her and her generation, and my father as well, because that generation really had the dig down deep.
Yes.
The courage, and that's what I'm working on, because the courage is real. Like, if you can't half step when it comes to courage, right? So that generation really had that, and I'm working to be as courageous.
Okay, so Tamica, in speaking to your dad, he shared with me that you guys were going to be performing at NJPAC on a tour. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Man, I have to tell you, I can't wait to be back at NJPAC. We got to perform at NJPAC in a huge, big theater as part of 5 Women Living Legends back in the 80s. And it was the 5 founders, and we all went on a tour and performed. And performing on the big stage there was just amazing in the late 80s, early 90s. So coming back is just a great feeling. The company members that are coming this time have never performed in that space, on that stage. And just to be in such a important facility, performing house is huge for the company. Coming on our own and not as part of a packaged tour says a lot about the work we've been doing artistically, Lula's choreography, and the message in her work. And as part of every tour that we do, we really go out of our way to have community outreach. It's important to develop new audiences. It's important to find new young dancers. It's important to make the art accessible to the average person who might not necessarily participate in the arts in any way. So the outreach is going to be exciting. I think we're doing schools, maybe parks, or maybe kids are getting bused in. But I'm very excited to be back at NJPAC. I'm not certain which theater, but we're going to be there in 26th, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. One of the things, and our last final question, I admire the fact that you work closely with your family, your mother and your father. And in speaking to young people, we feel that it's important for them to learn as much as they can on how the support of a family can help them to grow, not only in life, but also in the arts. Tell us how you're able to do that and how that has worked for you to work so closely with your parents. You're on a tour, and just throughout your life, they raised you in a way that, you didn't rebel against them. You sort of embraced this whole thing. Just speak to that briefly.
In hindsight, I was speaking to a senior actor who was like, you never had a chance. There was no way you were ever going to do anything else. Regardless of what they told you, regardless of the chances they gave you, because it's just the 3 of us. And in hindsight, I think maybe he might be right. But my parents gave me all kinds of opportunities. I swam, I ran track, I really ran track. Like, I thought I was going to really be an athlete. I did gymnastics, I was an actor, I was singing, I was doing everything. And to a degree, in hindsight again, maybe I was searching as a child because I had grown up in studios and, gone to see dance concerts. And to me, like people say, when you started dancing, like, well, what was that like? And to me, everybody got up on Saturday morning and was at the studio by 8 and had ballet and jazz and tap and hip hop, and then had to break and then had rehearsal. Everybody did it. That was like, I had no concept of not getting up on Saturdays to go to a class, not going after school to go do something. There was always something to do. When the organization, when they decided to become a 501c3 and to become a formal official dance company, folding the flyers, picking up the phone, was doing all that stuff just because somebody had to do it, and I was there. I was sitting in board meetings. So it just kind of grew, and by the time I got to the level where I am today, where I'm not actually, dancing as much, a lot more teaching, a lot more administrative and management work, but I already knew it. It's in my DNA. Like I know what to do. I know what to think about for the tour. I know what to tell the assistant. You have to do it this way because X, Y, and Z. And I know it because I lived it for so many years. Working with your parents and your family is really, really challenging. It's extremely challenging because there has to be a personal ecology, is what I like to call it, a balance, and it's hard to turn it off. So we'll come home after a show and it'll be midnight, and my dad and I'll be like, yeah, I talked to the funder, and yeah, there was somebody who wants to bring us over here, and yeah, my mother will be like, please, just turn it off. But it's hard because we're excited about the work. So, but it's a true blessing to be able to work with family, even though it's a challenge. And I cherish this time. In fact, a few funders in Los Angeles were concerned because of, my parents are getting older. They want to understand for the organization who is the leadership, who is stepping up. And a lot of them are suggesting maybe they should step down sooner than later. And I said to myself, I can't expect any human being to step down from what they love to do until they're ready. And on top of that, as a leader, I mean, look at Eli Broad, the Broad Theater in Los Angeles. He's a great philanthropist and a collector of art. And he literally said, my next person will follow me for 10 years, and then he'll be ready. So it's like an athlete. It takes at least 10 years.
Marshall was so old in the Supreme Court.
Yes. So we have to
get out of that mindset of limiting.
Yeah.
People.
Because when they leave,
as long as they're capable of functioning, we should embrace keeping them around and having their wisdom as long as we can have it.
You said
There's
it.
certain cultures that never
let go
rid of their, the gray hair.
That's right, but that wisdom is so crucial.
That's right.
Because they remember.
That's right.
And they're going to make you be ready to discern what's coming or may come. So yeah, you said it.
We need to break that. So I want to thank you so much. I know you have to go. Is there anyone real quick that you would like to thank that may have helped you along your way?
Yeah. Besides my parents, of course, Erwin and Lula Washington, my best friend, Starlet Quarles of the Bedford Group and Urban X Management and Marketing. I'd like to thank Denise Saunders Thompson for giving me the opportunity to step up within IABD in leadership. And of course, all of the founding board members for IABD for, supporting me as a dancer, supporting me as a teacher, giving me teaching opportunities, giving me the opportunity to set work on, on showcases when maybe wasn't all the way ready, but they gave me the chance. And so I just love and cherish and honor my relationships with each of those women and everyone who's been a part of this organization all these years that I've been here.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Same.
And congrats with everything that you're doing.
And you too. Thank you.